Yo, people, welcome back to the channel. Oh, what's the echo? Can everyone? Is that okay? Okay, we're back. We're cool. We're good. Can yeah, we're good. I think the echo's gone. Yo, people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Red Room. Another episode is about to be in the can. Lots to talk about, as usual, with Liverpool Football Club, the powerhouse that is Liverpool Football Club, the institution that is Liverpool Football Club. There's always talking points, and there's always people that need to talk. And I've got a lovely bunch, proper lovely bunch with me tonight to talk about all things Liverpool. Get it off your chest. Isak, Guehi, transfers, Wednesday's epic encounter at Tyneside, everything. We will tuck into as many topics as we possibly can in just over 55, 56 minutes or so. Get your comments in, get your opinions in. I'll try to share them as much as I can. I'll put it forward to the panel. We have an interesting story about one of my panelists, namely Keith, getting into spats with ex-Liverpool footballers, which is quite a thing, actually. I want to discuss how many journalists are offering people out on Twitter as well. It's fucking madness, people. It's absolute madness. But we will tuck into everything. Welcome, everyone. Lewis, how we doing, pal? Lewis of Beyond the Cop. If you don't know, make sure you go and check out his channel. How are we, pal? How are we embracing this week or middle of the week now?
Good, man. It's back talking about Liverpool. I'm just happy the Premier League's back. You know, I was so bored for weeks, man. But doing good. Very busy as of the past few days, but can't complain. I'm not getting into fights with Collymore, so that's always a positivity. But yeah, we move on.
Yeah, talking of fights. Since I've known Ben, probably about 3 years now, 4 years, if not around that much. I haven't ever had a week where I haven't seen Ben calling someone the C-bomb on Twitter. Now, Ben loves the C word, but Ben also has got this lack of net getting banned because Elon loves his C words now. In the old days, Ben would have been off Twitter, but Ben loves it now. He's got the freedom of speech right down to a T. How are we, Ben?
Well, what an introduction that is. At least you can say I'm consistent, because you know what I mean. So, yeah, it's good to be on again, mate, and it's going to be an interesting few days. I'm looking forward to the big game on Monday night. I'll be there, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good.
Are you going there with like all padded up and like going there like a centurion, you know?
Stone Island.
Yeah.
I think it's. I tell you what, you know, I've seen some of the comments I've seen about Liverpool. I've seen Newcastle fans yesterday. Probably the C word came out a few times when I'm reading Newcastle tweets saying Liverpool can't handle pressure. So it's going to be an interesting evening.
It's not only Liverpool can't handle pressure. Like the narrative's wild. The narrative's flying about in the media. Like the outpouring, the outcry of this Isak deal. It's like he's the only effing player in the history of the game that has ever wanted to play for another club and gone down this route. It's like he's the only one. And it's like Liverpool are trying to belittle Newcastle by offering how much? A fucking British record bid. Oh, that's belittling. Who the hell do they think they are, Mo? Scouse Mo joins us as well. This is mental.
The hypocrisy flying around at the moment is just insane. Like some of the stuff that these Newcastle fans are spewing and the media as well, it's just mental. Like I'm looking at, for example, like you just mentioned, there's players that want to leave the club. They're going after Wissa, and Wissa's doing the exact same thing to Brentford, and they seem to be okay with that, offering them 35 million when Brentford won 60 million. Like, is that not belittling? That's a lot more belittling. Like, that's basically half price what they're trying to get him for. Honestly, the hypocrisy right now, what's going on is crazy. But I'm glad the football's back on. And honestly, part of me just can't wait until this summer transfer window's closed and we can just focus on the footy. I'm not going to even lie.
Focus on the footy is so hard at the moment. And until the window closes, it's going to be like that. Like I've stopped responding to tweets and questions and comments. And there's enough people doing daily or hourly updates. Like there's no such thing as an hourly minute by minute update unless you absolutely have a direct line to the club. Let it all play out, let it all pan out. And look, people in the chat, it's like as well, just the levels of impatience. Whatever will be, Keith. I mean, that's the way I look at it. And we'll get on to sort of our opinions on what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. But talking about fights and spats, you messaged me about an altercation you had with a certain player. You have the floor for a couple of minutes to explain to the watching public how you nearly or have got into an altercation with a famous ex-player.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's from what everyone has said, it's a nice segue when we're talking about hypocrisy, because there's nothing more that winds me up in this industry than hypocrisy. I have heard ex-players coming out and saying what Isak's doing is the worst thing since sliced bread. If, social media these days, in my day, in your day, you were in the back page of the bloody newspapers, day in, day out, orchestrating moves behind the scenes like a certain Stan Collymore. Stan Collymore wrote an essay talking about his disappointment in the way that Isak has approached this, questioning his personality, questioning him as a person, but he's taken a lot of personal digs. And I asked Collymore, I said to him, well, Collymore, that's funny, because I seem to remember, or I heard through the grapevine, that you actually engineered a move away from Nottingham Forest to come to Liverpool behind the scenes. You actually engineered a move that was so controversial at the time that Nottingham Forest refused to pay your loyalty bonus because you engineered a move against their say-so behind their back. That clearly rubbed Stan Collymore up the wrong way, because he responded with an essay longer than what I would have written in my English literature A-level exams, yeah?
Or longer than Lewis's agenda for today's show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you admit it's mine. Thank God.
Exactly.
Sorry, lads, I made you read all that. I'm sure 50% of you didn't read it.
Yeah, we just go for the flow. Listen, I got this to say, ex-players. All your ex-players that are watching this now who are going to go on to TalkSport and have an opinion, remember one thing. The modern day millennial, Gen Z, Gen X, we know how to prompt ChatGPT. Yeah, so I know how to ask ChatGPT the questions, and I know how to get the right answers out of it. So let's not. Don Hutchinson was another one. Yeah, Don Hutchinson, the disgrace. Bro. Yeah. Who do you not remember when Don Hutchinson refused to sign his new deal at Everton to force a move out to Sunderland? But Everton made sure that deal happened. So there's a lot of hypocrisy, Grizz, in it. Don't get me wrong. Isak has done what he's done, but this is not the first time, and it will not be the last.
It's simply not. I mean, does anyone get the reason why? Is it because it's just Liverpool? Like, has anyone got a theory? Like, I want help. Yeah. Do you reckon? Yeah. Like, I don't get it. Like, talking about having journalists in their back pocket. Fuck me, man. Like, are you not stupid or something? The only news that's coming from any journalist is the Newcastle journalist and Ornstein. No one else, none of the Liverpool journalists are coming out with daily videos and daily reports and daily articles. Everything is from the Newcastle propaganda side. What are you lot on about? Liverpool made a bid. You didn't like it. You told us to fuck off. We said, all right, we fucked off. No problem. Yeah. It's not our fault the player is begging for us. It's not our fault the player wants us. The player wants to play for Liverpool. We're saying, listen, Alexander, sort out between your own club. We've got the money and we know you want to play for us, but your club's a prick. Your club's a prick right now. That's where it is, right, Lewis?
No, I agree. I don't remember anyone doing woe is us when Mascherano refused to play. I don't remember anyone doing woe is us when Torres wanted to leave or Suarez wanted to leave or any of this. It's at the end of the day, people can be pissed off all they want that we've spent money and won the league and brought in the best players and are getting linked with the best players. They can't handle it. That's their fault for not being able to keep up. It is purely people spinning their agenda to make us out to be the bad guys here. All we've done is put a bid in and say we're interested. We didn't make him refuse to train. We didn't make him refuse to play. We didn't make him train alone or go to Sociedad to do it. That's his choice. He's done that of his own volition. That's nothing to do with us. If a player's doing that and is so adamant they're coming to the point where they're revolting against their club, Newcastle at the moment, I might rant for a minute, but Newcastle at the moment have it in their heads that because they've had money and because they've won their first trophy in 70 years, that they are a big fish in a small pond. You're a small fish in a big pond trying to keep up with us and Arsenal and City and all these other teams in the Premier League who are pushing for the title and top four. They think keeping Isak and allowing and believing in their head that they have the power here to keep hold of this top quality player will spin the narrative that they are a massive club. You're not. If anything, you're cutting off your nose despite the face, because rather than investing the money from him in other areas of the pitch where you can improve, like we saw 2 seasons ago, they capitulated as soon as they got a few injuries and had the Champions League season. Keeping Isak at the detriment to the rest of the club, getting the money and spending it elsewhere, does not make you a big club. It makes you poorly ran. Rather than trying to strengthen and go for more titles and more trophies, you think you've got the moral high ground and picked some sort of victory by saying, no, we're keeping him. He's going to be gone in a year's time if he doesn't move this summer. There is no way he is going to still be at the club. And just because you think you've kept hold of this prized asset, this world-class striker who's never going to play for your club again, that you are suddenly comparable to us and City and all those others, it doesn't work that way. If he's not playing for you, it's an expensive asset on your bench or in your reserves who's not benefiting your team at all. And that is not how a top-level club is ran. We had it with Suarez, just because if we'd have kept Suarez, it papered over a lot of the cracks. And just because we think we've got this 1 or 2 brilliant world-class players doesn't make you a massive club. At the time, we were stagnating until Klopp came in. It doesn't work that way as much as they like to believe it is.
We're going to get into the statements made by both clubs. I wonder if you can share that statement with us, Lewis, while I get the lads' opinions on this, because obviously yesterday was the PFA Player Awards ceremony, and Salah's might be a bit gutted because we know Salah loves the limelight. Well, he's not a show offer per se, but he does love the limelight only because he's the king, and the kings, deserve the limelight. Ben, yesterday's while the events was taking place, there was a what's his name? A statement. What do we make of this? So Isak came out with a statement via his Instagram. He said, "I'm proud to be recognized by my fellow professionals, blah, blah, blah." We're not interested in that. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates. We're not interested in that. I'm not at the ceremony tonight. This is where it gets interesting. With everything going on, it didn't feel right to be there. I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. The silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that promises were made, and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if there's issues only emerging now is misleading. When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is the best interest of everyone, not just myself. Signed, Alexander Isak. What do we make of that, people? And then we'll get into the Newcastle response. But this was needed, Ben? Or is this a case of everyone's been chatting shit about me? I need a right of reply here.
That's exactly what it is, isn't it? How much shit could he take? Apparently he's the worst villain in football, when realistically, no one even knows who's telling the truth. And let's be honest, I can tell for a fact that if he's telling the truth, there's no way Newcastle didn't offer him a big deal. For me, he's the best striker in Europe at the minute. Not on his day, you've got the Irelands and shit like that. The most all-round striker, should I say. And to be honest, I am glad he's fucking pulled it on them. They needed to be fucking taught a bit of a lesson. Like Lewis has just said, they're a big club in Newcastle. Not a big club outside of their little bubble. Do you know what I mean? And if you want to act like the big boys, which they are trying to do, well, unfortunately, you're just not. And they can't, he probably feels their failure is fucking letting him down, and he can't take that shit anymore. And how many times can he watch the market where they're just going to strikers and getting turned down? Eventually, he's had to say something. And do you know what? I work in the Middle East. I always said to a few people that I speak to, like, he was never going to get out of it by being nice. And I think he kept his mouth shut for a while. But after a while, he's just gone, fuck this. This is going on far too long. He's put the pressure on them now, and I am made up the spotlights on them. All I can see them doing is flapping. Their inexperience is showing. I think it showed the manager's inexperience. And, they can say all they want, but player power is real. And he's absolutely dropped the bomb on Newcastle. And they're struggling to cope with it. And I am made up he's done that, because all the shit I've seen. And, Keith, you've just been talking about these names. Don Hutchinson, what's he talking about, the fool? Do you know what I mean? Like, you even got ex-Liverpool players saying it. Do you know what? If it was any other club, this shit wouldn't be going on. They weren't fucking saying this when Sterling was kicking up a fuss in the background. What are they all talking about? And the reason being is, Grizz, Liverpool Football Club, they're all shitting themselves that if they get him, Liverpool wipe the floor with them. And I am glad he's done it, because the ball's moving now and the end is near.
Ben's glad that he's done it. Scousemo, I'm going to come to you because there's a comment here. And Total Eclipse says, Grizz, don't you think that statement has shot himself in the foot and backfired? Is there any danger of that, lads?
I mean, if you look at Newcastle statements, which you mentioned, we're going to look into, they don't have no intentions to sell him. It looks like from that statement. But I'm with Ben. I'm very glad that he dropped that bombshell last night. Like, it's about time that he came out and spoke. Well, we already knew kind of what his intentions were. Like, obviously training at Real Sociedad, not turning up at preseason games, not turning up for the first game of the season. We knew he didn't want to stay at the club anymore, and it's quite obvious that promises were made to Isak last season or last summer when he signed that contract. Promises were made to him, and these promises haven't been fulfilled. And he's 100% right in saying when trust is broken, then you need to move on from the relationship. You need to carry on from there and like, you know, end the relationship at that point. What's to say here? Just trying to read that.
I'm going to read it out. I'm going to read it. You finish what you're saying, and I'm going to read it out. Don't worry.
Yes, like within this statement itself. So going back to that comment that you just put up on the screen, did he shoot himself in the foot? I don't think so, because what are they going to do? Leave a player on that's worth 120 million pound plus on the bench for the next 3 years? That's what Newcastle fans are screaming for, which just blows my mind. Like, are you actually serious? You want a 120 million pound asset to just sit on the bench for the next 3 years? No reasonable or sensible business would ever allow that to happen. If he does not want to play for the club no more, then you have to cut ties. You have to cash in 120 million pounds, British transfer record, 120 million pounds, and you sell him. It's as simple as that. The guy doesn't want to play for you no more. It doesn't look like he wants to reintegrate with the club. And if Newcastle, I agree so much with Ben and Lou. They think they're at the big table now. Like, they think they're big fish, and they can just put their foot down and say, no, you're not going anywhere. We're going to be moving on to winning the Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, which they're clearly not in the position to do so, because Isak right now is primed to go into his prime years of his career. The next 4 or 5 years is where he wants to win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues. Is he going to do that at Newcastle? No. Is he going to do that at Liverpool? Most likely, yes.
Keith, obviously, basically, as soon as that happened. Now, again, this is quite unique, lads. I don't know what you guys think, right? How often have we seen a club fucking statement come out on the basis of a player's social media post just probably an hour before or something, guys? Like, instantaneous club statement, you know, Keith. Club statement. And this is where it reads. It says, we are disappointed to have been alerted to a social. They've got the notifications on.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
they've got his Instagram notes on, right? And so it says, we are disappointed to have been alerted to a social media post by Alexander Isak this evening. We are clear in response that Alex remains under contract and no commitment has ever been made by a club official that Alex can leave this summer. I mean, there's a couple of things that I could pick up on just that one, right? Because club officials, is it old, current ones? Because we know Amanda Stevely is the one who's apparently, supposedly, have offered him a new deal in contract terms. And apparently, the rumor mill says that it was the ex-football director that decided when he walked in, there is no new contract extension for Isak. And so that's what's upset him. Anyway, we want to keep our best players, blah, blah, blah. But we also understand they have their own wishes and we listen to their views. Okay, that's encouraging. As explained to Alex and his representatives, we must always take the interests of Newcastle. That's understandable as well. So but what they're saying is, all right, look, we know your players have ambitions and whatever, but we must think of the best interests of Newcastle, right? Now, the team and our supporters, and we have been clear that the conditions of a sale this summer have not transpired. And then that's where the paragraph stops. And guys, check out the next line. We do not foresee these conditions being met. So what are these conditions? The rest is just, we love you, Alex. It's one of those ones, that meme. Come to me. Come to me. You're all right. Yeah. What do you make of that statement, Keith?
It contradicts itself. You start by talking about how, Newcastle effectively, never made a commitment that they were going to sell this summer. And then in the same breath, you say that conditions haven't been met for a sale. So either if he was never for sale and it was never going to be for sale, why they wouldn't even discuss conditions, because there wouldn't be any conditions. There is no conditions in a no. It's no. That's it. It's done. Right. It's pretty much like he wanted to leave and we don't want him. We said no. So there's clearly a gray area in a conversation that's happened that has allowed Isak to say, okay, conditions met. I mean, we can all guess what those conditions are. Club comes in for the for the value that we have, and we get a replacement, and then you can go along your merry way. So to say that it wasn't, and then to say that it was, and then to have the mouthpieces come out all summer and say that it wasn't, and categorically no, the messaging from Newcastle this entire summer has been poor. But I think sometimes I feel like sometimes everyone gets into arguments on social media, and I think sometimes we forget about real life. Okay, so let's put this into a real life context, right? You work at a company, okay? You're working under a manager. A manager turns around to you and goes, do this, do that, and I'm going to give you a promotion. I'm going to give you a promotion. I'm going to give you a pay rise, right? You hit these KPIs, and that's exactly what you're going to get, right? Now, you're grinding, you're winning League Cups. You're the second top goal scorer in the league. You got your team into the Champions League. You've done everything that was expected from you, and you expect the club or the manager above you to give you that promotion and that pay rise. Now that manager leaves, new manager comes in. I got something different. I got a different path. Mr. Manager, like, obviously I've been going through this process and I'm expected blah, 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 and I've done this, that, and the other. Yeah, we don't have the budget for that, sorry. Excuse me? I would be on LinkedIn the same day DMing people and saying, where's the jobs? I will be on Indeed.co.uk, cheeky plug, to do search for jobs. And I'll be applying for jobs because I would have felt like I had been lied to. And that, by all accounts, and everyone can agree, is exactly what's happened to Isak. Amanda Staveley has categorically said to Isak, I'm going to give you what you want, and you're the best player in the world, and blah, 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 blah. And then basically what's happened, and it's quite similar, if you remember, what we went through with Trent, right? Because Trent, when we lost our director of football, and then we lost the other director of football, and there was just kind of abyss that FSG was going to sell and blah, blah, blah. And we didn't really deal with the contract at hand at the time. This is exactly what happened to Newcastle. There's an abyss. They didn't deal with the situation. And Isak and Newcastle said, well, you didn't give me what I asked for. At the end of the season, I am going to leave. And Newcastle clearly said, well, if you're going to do that, then we need to make conditions met. So to go from that to now turn around and be like, he's not for sale and we're going to dig our heels, all that messaging just doesn't make sense. So apply real life to the situation. And that's why I have sympathy for Isak in this scenario, because clearly he was promised something. It was reneged. And then afterwards, now you're turning around and be like, right, cool.
You're the bad guy. Yeah.
You're the bad guy, and play another season, and then we'll do it next season. Why would I trust you? Why would I trust you?
Yeah.
Go on, Ben. What was you going to say, Ben?
Just said they're full of shit.
Basically, there you have it, lads. They're full of shit. I mean, look. Keith's broken it down. Apply it to real life. Now, obviously, it's very difficult to apply when you're talking about these multi-million-pound deals, whatever. But it's the same theory. It's the same theory in practice, guys, just on a different level or different scale. I can't remember who I was speaking to, but I genuinely think that it's a case of Newcastle not being the big dogs. I've never been big dogs and don't know how to handle these situations as a club, as directors, as a coach, as a whole institution. They've got a player that wants out and they can possibly make up to about 130-40 million pound on him and reinvest and turn their club around, fortunes, like really become the big dogs, like we went through the Coutinho phase. Guys, let's call a spade a spade. We were in the shits, man. We were in the dumps, man. Yeah. And then Coutinho came along, gave us that financial power that we wouldn't have got. We wouldn't have got, guys. There was no other way we were going to be able to invest that kind of money. Virgil, Alisson, Fabinho, boom, 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 on the back of that. Why do they not want to copy the best run club in world football, probably, in Liverpool Football Club? Copy our model. Look what we've done. Look what we went to. Lewis, it seems like after the statements and everything else, we're back to where we are in square one. They need to get replacements in. They trying to make bids left, right, and center. Today we find out Visa has been low. I mean, the irony is fucking off the charts, lad. So now they've lowballed Brentford in a £40 million offer, which has been rejected. Is there slight panic setting in, lads, that it's not as though we haven't got the money and we can't do a deal. It's because of their inadequacies in the market that we may mess this up, or this could mess up for us.
I got to have no doubt that if we don't get Isak, if for some reason that Newcastle just turn around and say, nah, fuck you, he's staying, that's it, end of, we will have backups. We will have a contingency. I feel like a lot of people are sort of saying, look, it's Isak or bust. We'll have a plan. That's just how we've been around the past few years. My only worry is I think the longer this drags on, I am getting slightly less confident. And I do think that Newcastle bidding the amount they did for Visa today, they should be at panic stations, absolutely. And it's not like they haven't got the money, because if you look at what they tried to bid for Sesko, the money's there. They've clearly got it in them. I know they've just signed Jacob Ramsey from Villa. Like, I get that. But they will have the cash there to get in a Johan Visa. And there's a part of my brain, that little tinfoil hat part of it, that's saying, I think Newcastle have sort of deliberately lowballed this Visa one as a sort of, well, if we don't get him, Isak's going nowhere kind of thing. It's like a sort of big fuck you to us to say, look, we've said he's staying. He's staying. If we don't get Visa, oh no, what a shame. I guess he's just going to have to stay at the club. And that is probably a daft way of looking at it, but there's just a little part in my head that's saying it. And I do think that there's other options out there. Samu from Porto would be a great shout. They can go in for Visa again. They were getting linked to Nicholas Jackson. There's other options there. I just think Newcastle are dragging this out till it gets to the point where they can't sell Isak. I'm just slowly getting less and less confident. I don't know if anyone agrees or disagrees with me. If anyone wants to jump in, by all means, because I'm slowly getting to that point now where I'm just like, you know what? I just want me definitive answer. Are we getting him? Are we not? Okay, if we're not, Brill, let's just move on to someone else. And there's people who were jumping at me on my stream last night saying, well, that's not fair to Isak. That's not fair to us. Like I said before, we didn't make him go on strike. We didn't make him stop training or try and force the move. That's his decision. At the end of the day, my concern is Liverpool Football Club. I want this club to succeed. Whatever happens next in Alexander Isak's career, if he doesn't join us, that's his decision to make. We didn't make him do anything. My concern is who comes into this club, who improves us, who wins us trophies and competes for that top spot in the front line. Someone's career who doesn't join this club is not my concern. If he joins, brilliant. If he doesn't, as long as we move forward, I'm not too bothered, to be honest. It might be harsh, but
I like it. I like the different opinions and thought patterns going through our heads. Ben, get yours on that. What do you think then? Because I get what Lewis is saying. Look, all right, it's all fun and games, and we love you, Isak, and we would have been amazed to get, it would have been amazing to have you. I want to play devil's advocate. Because I don't want to, because people already started the abuse and everything else, and the title. The lads at Index have done me with the title. It's that deal off, not even a question mark, So I'm with my face on it, smiling away, like fucking done me like a kipper there, right? But I'll get into it. I'll give my opinion as well. Ben, we don't leave Isak stranded like this, or do we? Or like Lewis says, we're cold-blooded killers. We tried our best. Your club's a prick, and we have to move on. What do you think?
Well, I think we'd look absolutely stupid if we walked away with a 110 million bid.
No, but what if they don't entertain it? I'm saying, Ben.
No, well, the fact of the matter is Liverpool,
like as in because they're shit. They can't sign anything. They can't even do you know what I mean? They're struggling to attract anything.
They've got no striker anyway, so what does it matter? So they're in no position just to bat it off. How can they turn that money down? Let's be real about it. Right now, they've got no striker. So, what's the point of keeping him? Because they're not going to play him. He's not going to play for them. There's no way back for him. Surely not. Whatever he's done, I think him and his agent have looked at him and went, if we do this, there's no way back. So, and they've gone with it. Do you know what I mean? So, do Newcastle just go, oh, fuck it, we're going to have to do it? Because I think the fans would end up just going, yeah, maybe. If you look at the timescales of it as well, Grizz, I can't. At first, I was thinking, does the game really have such meaning towards this bid stuff? But then I can imagine it being, because after this game, and I'm at this game at St. James's Park, they don't play at St. James's Park again till after the international break. They sell them after our game. They're not in the heat. I think they're worried the fans are going to turn on the club. Personally, they've been shit this year. Eddie Howe's nephew's doing deals. What the fuck's he going to do? He can deal deck of cards. Do you know what I mean? He's just a waste of time by the all looks of it. And, in my opinion, they'd be... Okay, look, there's always a chance they could just go, nah, fuck it, we're not doing it. But who's won there? Liverpool haven't lost. We're the ones sat with a natural front three. They've lost because they've got no forwards. And so looking at the game on Monday night, Virgil van Dijk and Kanate will be looking at Gordon down the middle going, we'll fucking have him. If that's all they've got to offer, all fight, no shit. They had that same the other night. They're not going to do anything with that. And if that's the case, they may as well just shut the doors and not turn up for the rest of the season, because they're not getting Champions League. They're not doing that. If they've got any sense, they'll take the money. I think they will get these little deals done, and they can build upon that. The lads have just spoke well on it. I just think Newcastle, they've tried to look the big man, but the walls have caved in. You know, and I just don't think they can go back from it now. They had the opportunity last night to go, F you, he's going nowhere. Categorically no bid. That statement's got more holes in it than a sieve. Do you know what I mean? It's far too fluffy. You've been shouting your heads off. We've sat there with sunglasses on, smoking a cigar, watching the walls cave in, while Isak's just pouring petty all over the fucking St. James's Park. Do you know what I mean? That place is looking an embarrassment. If they want to be a big club, well, it's just turned upside down on them last night. Do you know what I mean? They had the opportunity to tell everyone, we're the big club. He's not going anywhere. And they've just told everyone that he's for sale. That was a cry for Liverpool. Come and take him. Put the money on the table. Come and take him. I don't know how they can not take the money.
Halfway through the show, and we have amazing support as usual. Nearly 6,000 on Twitter, 600 on YouTube. God knows how many on Facebook. Please like and subscribe. Join the Anfield Index family if you haven't. They do daily content and doing amazing work on the Liverpool content scene. Mo, is there a point, same question, is there a point where we have to walk away? Because there's how many days, lads? 10 days left?
Yeah.
10 days left. Is there a point where we try to engage again and see, because we're not going to engage. It's become a matter of pride, it seems, between the two clubs' hierarchies. So we're saying we're not going to get rebuffed again because we're only going to make an offer when you're serious. At the moment, you're not serious. Where does this leave Isak? What's your just take on the whole scenario? And do we leave him stranded then? Because no one else is going to offer that kind of money.
But the thing is, leaving them stranded, what more can we do? If we're not going to get any engagement from Newcastle, if Newcastle don't want to entertain any bids, it's not us leaving them stranded. It's Newcastle being twats, basically. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's as simple as that. Like, what else are we supposed to do? I think it's just been an absolute... it's been an embarrassment from Newcastle all summer. And this whole rhetoric this season of, we're not going to sell our star player until we get a replacement player in, or until... Because it happened with Brentford. We're talking about, we're not going to sell Vissa or Mbuemo until we get Dango Ouattara, and then Bournemouth started talking about, we need to get a replacement for Dango Ouattara before. I'm thinking, what is going on this summer? I've never experienced anything like this before. Like, we're not selling our player until we get a replacement. It's weird. And then in terms of just like what Ben just mentioned earlier, my thought process was, maybe that Newcastle game at St. James's Park, they don't want to do any business until that game. And because obviously it's the second game of the season, if imagine Isak turned up at St. James's Park in a Liverpool shirt, mental. Like, that would just be insane. It's already going to be a heated match, but then just imagine Isak in a Liverpool shirt. So then that's what I was thinking. I don't think it's going to be likely for us to do a deal for him before that game. And maybe, we'll be able to have like conversations after that match. So that's what I'm hoping for still. But I'm still in the position of, I think we need two attackers still. I don't think we just need Isak. I think we need a love one. I think we need a winger. I think we need to go into the season with 5. So even if Isak's not going to get signed, I still want us to go out and get a lover attacker anyway.
Slow down there, buddy, because that's the segue into our second. But go on, finish off what you was going to say. Yeah.
No, that's basically what I was going to say. I think if Newcastle want to have conversations with Liverpool Football Club and entertain a bid, then fair enough. I'm sure Liverpool will go back in, maybe offer 120, 125 million, and Isak will be free and he can join us. If they're not willing to engage and they're not willing to, have conversations with us, then I can't see any way back for Isak, and he's just going to rot at Newcastle for the next 3 years. If that's what they want, and then just lose out on 120 million, then go ahead. What else can you do?
What else can we do indeed? And what else can we do indeed apart from watch the ride? Let's watch how the next 10 days transpires, because it's got to fix itself. There is going to be an Orny bomber any day this week or next week, Fabrizio bomber this week or next week, either saying Isak stays or Isak signs. I mean, I don't think there's any middle ground. There's no other club involved. And the reason for that is because he wants us people. But Mo mentions that we need 2 strikers. I'm not sure about that now because we've had a couple of statements or indications from Chiesa in his camp. Lewis, how do you feel about the Chiesa situation? Suddenly turned on its head. Looks like he wants to. Well, he definitely wants to stay, and we probably want to keep him. Happy with that?
Yeah, I think we need to. We've got rid of Ben Doak. Diaz is gone. Nunez is gone. And maybe I've got a little bit in my brain that's thinking this is a little bit rose tinted because he got that goal against Bournemouth, and perhaps that sort of swayed the opinion on, well, he's good enough to be a backup. I'm just happy he's getting his chance because I don't think he got a fair show last season. I understand that he didn't play to the top level that we thought he was going to, but as a backup to rotate around Salah, there's worse people you could have. Salah's in his 30s. He's got 2 years left on his contract. We need to start future-proofing. And Chiesa's not that. He's not the long-term solution to Salah. But we've got a lot of matches this season. We're going to need to rotate. And I think he's more than capable of doing that. He can drift in the middle if you absolutely need him to. He's comfortable on the left or right. He did it at points last season in the Champions League. And I think the fee that was getting passed around for him was around the same that we bought him for, maybe up to 15 million. That's not a lot of money to lose depth on your wing. If Ben Doak's going for 20, 25 million for such a young lad who's had half a good season in Middlesbrough, Chiesa should be worth more, even if he's had his performances dip over the last season. Keeping him, for me, if you'd have sold him, we'd have been up shit's creek without a paddle. We would have had no depth whatsoever. You would have had 3 senior players, so to speak, and then a 16-year-old lad behind Cody Gakpo. Jadon Danns is there as well. If we had gone through with the offer to sell him, we'd have got little to no money, which you couldn't have invested on anyone half as good as him. We'd have had no depth to bring on when we're in every competition next season with more Champions League matches and a title to be won. It only takes, touch wood, it doesn't happen, but it takes an injury to Salah, and the whole thing's falling apart there. There was no point to get rid of him, and there's so many people saying, "Oh, well, he didn't look great last season." He hardly played. He barely played, and there were people saying, "Well, Plymouth, that was the match we'd sold it." No one was good in that match. So if every single player was shit in that match, every single player there needs to be sold. And I mean, admittedly, half of them have been now, but I just didn't agree with the notion that he should have been sold. I'd like to see him get more of a fair crack. And if anything, that Bournemouth match sort of showed what he is good at. The final last season against Newcastle, ironically, showed what he's good at. He's an impact sign and he can affect games off the bench. So yeah, I'm excited, and I'm glad that he is going to get, hopefully, a fair whack, especially with Salah going off to AFCON this year.
Ben, Chiesa looks like he's staying, according to reports. I mean, things can change in the last week. We know this. I mean, just in case we didn't get Isak, well, then we definitely keep him. But I'm thinking if we didn't get Isak, and then obviously the other name that's on everyone's lips is Rodrigo. Now, it was deemed or it was suggested that Rodrigo's plans would be either Arsenal or us. But it's not Arsenal, because we've just found out that they're about on the verge of hijacking the Spurs bid for Eze.
I think it's agreed, isn't it?
Yeah, is it agreed? It's all done, yeah?
Sure, I've just seen something, yeah.
Well, there you go. So that leaves Rodrigo chat alive for Liverpool. And then the Chiesa chat is alive still as well. Where do you stand with the Chiesa? I'm not going to lie. Look, I love the song and I love you guys, or not you guys, but I love all the Chiesa stands. And it seems like the Nunez fanboys have switched their allegiances to the Chiesa fanboys league. So I'm not convinced by him. He was my favorite attacker 2-3 years ago in world football. I thought he was my top 3 favorite attackers in world football. I just don't think he's got the physical capabilities to be in our team every week anymore. But where you stand on it?
Do you know what, mate? He looked like a man possessed the other night. He looked like he's got down over the summer and really, started training early. Do you know what he looked like? I know it's probably a weird thing, but he looked a little bit like Jota at times the other night. That goal the other day was like a typical Jota goal, wasn't it? Right in the middle of the box, central, and just banged it in. What a goal that was. I'd keep him, because what are we going to get for him? Well, we're talking 15 million. How are we going to replace him? What's the point? Do you know what I mean? So, I think after that, he's definitely going to stay. I find it hard to see, like, off the basis of the competitive games up to now, I don't really see Rio getting much minutes, to be honest. So I think if we lost Chiesa, we're just playing with 5, and we've got 3 options. Do you know what I mean? Because let's be honest, I just don't think the man's going to trust the kid, to be honest. And neither should he. Do you know what I mean? He's never done it before. I don't think he's going to change his stance anymore. I'd love to see him stay. We've got to be careful how we talk about him, because everyone will start mentioning how we can't sing his song. Do you know what I mean? Which is fucking ridiculous.
Easy.
What was it that clown was saying? Out of a dirty and all this shit. Put that in. Like, what the fuck have I been seeing? Social media is finished. If we can't sing that song, let's just go home, mate. Pack it in. But I don't know. I think that was his breakthrough. Let's see what happens till the end of the winter. Because I tell you, on the basis of that, he's going to get minutes at Newcastle.
See, the thing is, right, Mo, we had these moments where we thought Nunes, do you remember against Newcastle away? We thought this is the moment where he scored those brace goals, and we thought, okay, this is the turning point in Nunes' career. Is this a turning point in Chiesa's career? Of course, Chiesa is a far more established player than Nunes. Chiesa is far more experienced, been through it all. I really want Chiesa to smash it at Liverpool, first and foremost, before anyone says, oh, here we go, Grizz's agenda. I've just told you who's my favourite attacker in world football. Top 3 favourite attackers in world football 3 years ago. It's just my opinion. I just don't think he's got the physical attributes after his injuries to be a starter for us. But I'm absolutely fine with him being in our list of squad of attackers and options, because Mo goes to AFCON and we literally haven't got anyone else at the moment to play on that right wing. Chiesa is a multifunctional player. What's your opinion, more importantly?
Everything that you just said there, I agree with 100%. I think when you watch him play physically, he just doesn't look like he's up to it. Like, he doesn't look as fast as he once was before the injuries. And the main thing that concerns me is I'm more than happy with him being in the squad and being a squad option. But say in the real possible scenario where it's January and Salah's off at AFCON, and let's just, God forbid it happens, but like a Gakpo or Ekitike is injured and we haven't signed Isak, are we confident to play Chiesa for the entirety of January? How many games do we play in January? Like 6 games, maybe, if you chuck in the FA Cup and that. I don't feel confident about that at all. And I don't think Slot would feel confident about that as well. In an ideal scenario, I think Chiesa would be a good 6th option, if I'm being 100% honest. Like, let him be a 6th option. Isak comes in, and then we bring in another established attacker. I think Liverpool always need 5 really good attackers if we want to go and compete for every trophy. If we want to go out there and win the Champions League, if we want to win the Premier League, we're going to need 5 high-quality attackers. And I don't think Chiesa can be one of those 5. If he's the 6th option, I'm more than happy with that. I'm more than fine with that. And do you know what? I hope I'm eating my words in a couple of months and he's absolutely smashing it in the Liverpool and he's scoring goals galore every single game. I hope and pray that happens. But from where I'm sat right now, I don't think it will happen, because as Grizz mentioned, that physicality, I don't think he brings that. And just going back to the point where you mentioned the goal that he scored, could this be his turning moment? And then compared to Nunes, I think it's a little bit different, because like Nunes was our record transfer. I think with Nunes, £85 million, we were expecting the world from him. And every time he scored the goal, it was like, oh my God, now he's going to deliver. He's going to become like the star striker that we've always wanted him to be. And it never happened. With Chiesa, sorry if you could hear fireworks going off outside, by the way.
Is that the announcement? Is that, oh my God, is that a bomber? Is that the second bomber around in town?
I feel like I'm back in Mogadishu. What's going on? What was I saying? With Chiesa. But you know what he was coming on the other day as well? I was like, rah, imagine my guy scores now. That would be so boss.
Oh.
Like, I was thinking, yeah, that would just be a moment and a half. And then he actually scored, and the way Anfield just erupted with that beautiful song, and I hope he never change it, because it's absolutely perfect. Probably one of the best songs we've ever had. It was just a beautiful moment, and I hope we've got more moments with that with Chiesa. I hope he can make an impact coming off the bench with 10, 15 minutes to go.
Keith, Chiesa, situation, scenario, how does it end? Want him to stay? Does he stay? And is that us? Hold on. Assuming Isak comes, will Chiesa be our 5th striker, lads? 5th attacker or 6th?
It'll be
like
the 5th.
Rio will be 6th, and then Chiesa will be 5th, right? Am I got that right, numbers wise?
Yeah, he'll be the 5th. Look, great opportunity scoring a goal when he did, but Fabio Carvalho also scored a goal, ironically, against Newcastle in the 98th minute, and we all went crazy those times. So, you know what I mean? Sometimes Anfield can do some wonderful things. You know, big magic from players that we didn't expect it from. I remember when David Ngo once scored a banger against Manchester United, top bins, and we thought, Jesus Christ, this is going to be the start of the next Thierry Henry, and we know how that felt. Look, Chiesa, you know, he's got all the attributes to continue to be a great player. And I think actually Liverpool would be smart right now. It's clearly obvious that we brought a broken man into the club. It took ages to get.
Was it a weird one, guys? That's definitely not a slot signing.
It was a sporting director signing. They saw an opportunity. It was so obvious. It was not a slot signing at all. And kind of Slot was that was the only time so far I've seen the whole, you're a head coach and we've got Richard Hughes as the sporting director making those type of decisions. You just go and coach the players we give you. That was the only time so far I've seen that in the dynamic of the relationship, because it just didn't make any sense to me at the time, particularly knowing how broken he was. We've got him up to full fitness now, which is great. You know what I mean? I mean, he started well, but you know, if he picks up another niggle again or something like that, I think his time could be pretty much over at Liverpool. I will say, I think the reason why the club are probably going to sit for the season is because I think if they can get at least, you know, 15 to 20 games off the bench, League Cup, etc., they can raise his value. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, if Ben Doett's going for 25 million quid, then I'm sure that Chiesa can go for the 20. They can make their profit on him as long as they've got a run of games to kind of show. Last season, it wasn't enough really for us to get that little bit of profit. He's still got value in him. He's still a good age. He's still got value. I just think he just needs to play games for Liverpool. He needs to get a couple goals under his boot, and he needs to carry on. And I think Liverpool will let him go next season. So he may be the 10th 5, but I agree with Mo. I think, you know, the fifth man, you know, it feels like NWO days, isn't it? Who's the fifth man? You know what I mean, right? Who's going to be the fifth man? It's definitely got to be something that, you know, we have to really, you know, consider. And you know, we are a club now that has 5 of the best. And on that, I just wanted to make one thing really like I want to make this point as well, because I find it again fascinating, and I hate going down the route of saying that everybody hates Liverpool. But what I find really fascinating this transfer window, right, is Liverpool are effectively replacing one man with another, right? Replacing one player with another player and filling the boots. But the way the narrative has been going on, you would think we are like creating a squad so massive. That's like we're stockpiling talent. Like we're spending all this money to stockpile on talent that we've already got. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a rebuild, really. This is one in, one out. And the way it's been discussed is as if we're stockpiling. We are still light at the end of the day. And Liverpool spending this big money is because journalists like Henry Winter seemingly believe that £110 million is a disgraceful offer. And so if he thinks that of the transfer market, then it's no surprise that Liverpool are having to spend big money just to buy players to come in and fill shoes, really. So that's the market dictates that we've had to spend this money, but we've also, it's not even about bringing the money in, really, net spend or whatever. We are ultimately rebuilding a squad. And that's what
needed rebuilding. Yeah, after Klopp and after the departure of all the players that we don't need to mention, we needed a rebuild. It just so happens that we're so organized, so structured, so brilliant, and we've managed to do it in one window practically. People hate it, but anyway, Dinesh sends a super chat. He says, "Good evening. Arsenal fans will not like this. Mo Salah, the GOAT of the Premier League, won 3 PFA awards and won 2 leagues and Champions League." I guess that's a segue into our a bit. Well, we'll talk about Mo. We'll address this in a minute. Thank you for the super chat, Dinesh. What's more important right now, Lewis, in your headspace after watching Liverpool perform so far this season in pre-season and in the opening game and the Charity Shield? The defensive, namely the centre-back issue or the forward issue, because we've discussed the attacking situation to death. What about our defensive and the Mark Guehi situation? Where are you standing and feeling on that?
Well, I'll come on that now. When that PFA question comes up, please come to me, because I got ripped for my opinion on this the other day, and I'll go in that in a bit. But no, it's got to be defence, because at the end of the day, without Isak, we've scored 2 against Palace. We scored 4 against Bournemouth the other day. We've got a plethora of attacking options, but defensively, you take Canate out that team, who has had 2 quite poor games, I'd say, back-to-back, especially against Bournemouth, who was woeful. and your backup options, Joe Gomez and Endo. You can't win anything without a solid defense. You go back to 13-14, we had the best attack, like not in Europe, because obviously Barcelona and Real Madrid were doing what they were doing, but the best in the Premier League by a country mile, with City being the closest ones that could compete with us. We had Suarez, Sturridge, Sterling, Coutinho, Gerrard, all of it. But because our defense was Skrtel, Ali Sissoko, John Flanagan, Sacco, things like that, we conceded like 50-odd goals. We need depth. We need options we can bring on, and we can't be relying too much on long-term projects. We've got Leone, looks like a fucking monster. Not even going to dispute that. He looks like an utter presence in that back line. I can't wait to see when he comes into the squad properly. But he's a long-term solution. We need ready-made players who can come in and immediately fight for Konate's spot. Someone who can immediately look to take over from Van Dijk when he inevitably leaves. I know that's what Leone's there for, but a Guehi, a Castello-Luqueba, someone of that ilk who can come in and make an immediate impact in the Champions League, the Premier League. We need it to be ready-made that if one person goes down, if Konate gets injured or Van Dijk gets injured or anyone, someone can go straight in. And Leone looks amazing. I've done so much research on him, but he's a project player. He's not immediately someone who can fill the boots of one of those two. So we have to strengthen in defence. Otherwise, it's really going to cost us in the amount of games we've got to play.
Yeah, my son, people go and check him out. IK Knows Ball. It's a youngster's name in it. That's what they call them. So don't ask me to explain what the fuck that means. But you know what I mean? He's only a kid. But go and support his channel and check him out. He's told me about this Leone kid quite a few times. Their dad, he's an absolute monster because he keeps an eye on all the talent. Academy coming through the academy and whatever as well, because obviously he's young and he relates to it. And he's been telling me about this monster at 18. But Ben, we cannot go into the season. Cannot. Benjamin, I'm telling you, if you disagree with this one, me and you're going to fall out. We cannot go into the season with the centre backs that we've got and a young 18-year-old monster that he is claiming to be. Mark Guehi fits and suits all the criterion agenda, doesn't he, Ben?
Yeah, we had this chat a couple of weeks ago, Grizz, didn't we? I think on the basis of how the season starts, he probably goes into the team straight away.
Probably.
Fucking Konate's not looked good, has he? For a couple of weeks, looks fucking terrible. Yeah, no, look, do you know what? I get it with the defence part of it, but I think it's as important as the front line because we're short in both areas, I think. We need, say for instance, Konate goes down. If you're going to rely on Gomez and Leone, we're playing with fire. We've been in this position before. If that defence just goes tits up, we're fucked, aren't we? Sorry to say, but we are. No, I think with the Guehi one, though, I get it where the club are. The longer it goes, the better for us. Do you know what I mean? They've said they want to sell him. Liverpool eventually will get the deal, but I think this is a massive signing, really. He's a game changer for Liverpool. I think, when we've looked a little bit sloppy, at times defensively, we could just change it up. We could have three of them playing. I genuinely think if Mark Guehi was in the team, if he's in the club right now, you could see Liverpool have him in the team with Konate and Van Dijk going on Monday night to just tighten things up. But as I say, look, he's a player that if he had any doubts about not getting games, looking on the first two games that we've played, including Palace, there's minutes there for him, in my opinion, mate. So it's very important. But we can't underestimate the front line, mate, because fucking hell, what happens if one of them goes down? You're then relying on Chiesa, which people aren't 100% on, and a 16-year-old kid. If that's the case, Liverpool will be struggling to win something this year if that was the case. But look, all will be all right. Liverpool will get what they need to be done.
Yeah, it seems to be unanimous, Mo. Guehi is needed. Guehi's the one. The situation seems to be a bit of a price issue. The player has absolutely no doubts. The player's playing it very calm and calculated, actually, to be honest with you. He's like Liverpool, where he's cool, man, with the situation. He wants Liverpool. Otherwise, he knows he'll bide his time and then get loads of money next season when he's free, and more money into his own pocket as opposed to the club. Obviously, the club are in a bit of a dilemma. My only situational doubt, guys, now is the Eze deal. Palace's manager will be so reluctant to sell both their price assets within a week. And that's the way it's looking, because Mark Guehi and Eze going will be problematic for him. But I don't think he has the ultimate say. I think Steve Parish, the chairman, will not want Mark Guehi to go for free. He's the one, right?
I think Steve Parish already came out after the Community Shield match, and he said, "Listen, if he's not going to sign a contract, we have to sell him this summer." And I can't lie, I agree with you. I'm a bit gutted for Crystal Palace because they've got a decent team. They could have done a lot of good things this season,
100%.
and they're losing. Because against Chelsea the other day, they didn't win. Obviously, it was a draw, and even against us, both games they looked amazing. Honestly, I can't lie. But now they're about to lose two of their best players, and I actually kind of feel sorry for them. Not gonna lie, but it's a dog world. We need Guehi. And I agree with everything that Lewis and Ben have just said. We definitely need to bring in somebody. We need to bring in Guehi, and there is a possibility that he can start for us straight away, considering how Konate's we played recently. But the thing is, I don't think
games he's been immense against Chelsea and immense against us.
He's a rock, honestly. He is quality, honestly, and there is a potential that he could just start straight away if he comes in. But my point that I was going to come to is, even if we do sign a centre back, I don't think our defensive problems are fixed. There's more problems. It's not just the numbers wise. I don't think we had that much protection against Crystal Palace or Bournemouth in the midfield, and that's mainly because Gravenberch wasn't there. So the sample size is obviously it's a bit skewed because Gravenberch wasn't there. That DM who just literally sits and covers the ground. McAllister wasn't fully fit. So, and I was one of the advocates for saying I want Szoboszlai to play a little bit deeper. I've changed my mind on that now after seeing those last two games. I don't really think I want to see him in that deep position. I can't lie to you. The better the Gravenberch, the sooner the Gravenberch back is, the better. I think we'll be a lot more solid defensively. Konate and Virgil van Dijk will have that protection in front of them. McAllister will get up to speed, but there's a huge likelihood that Konate could get injured and we could bring on Guehi, or Guehi can start from the jump. And I also agree with Ben's point. When games are getting tough and we need to just see out a game, you bring him on for like a Kirkers and you just go into a back three and you just shut up shop like that. Like that's a potential as well. I think it's a no-brainer. We need to get this centre back in, and I'm hoping and praying that we do. I'm just getting a little bit impatient because I've been waiting since Quansah left to get this established centre back in, and this still hasn't happened. So it's a bit frustrating, but yeah, we just got to be patient. 10, 11 more days, and hopefully all our defensive and attacking woes are sorted.
We're literally, guys, 10 days left, 2 signings to make. We're literally 2 signings away from having the greatest transfer window in my lifetime, and I'm older than all of you lot. And I'm telling you now, it's been a sensational window. It just needs that ending that we're all hoping for, and I'm pretty confident. I know, as I said, the title of the show, shout out I think it might have been Eddie who done today's show. Eddie's really put me in it. It said Isak deal off, capital letters. I'm not even a question mark, so he's put me right in the mud there. I don't think there's a plan B. We didn't get a chance to discuss plan B options or targets because I think if you can execute plan A, who needs a plan B? I think we were about to execute our plan A, which has always been Alexander Isak and Mark Guehi. We always knew we could possibly go down to the last week, and this is the reason why we've sat back and you've not heard any other names, haven't heard any other noise in the market. I'm still of the opinion that Alexander Isak will join. I'm still of the opinion Mark Guehi will join. And that's where we're going to end the show today. I'm hoping my opinion is correct. And I'm thankful for you guys to join us today. The panel, thank you very much, Lewis, Ben, Mo, and Keith, as usual, with some amazing opinions and takes. They're much more calm in real life, I told you guys. But if you want to follow them on the social medias, go and have a row with them on social medias. They're at Soul there. Go and have a row with them. Tell them what they're doing wrong and what they're saying wrong. Apart from that, all it remains for me to say is we'll have some previews. Go and check out my channel as well. Just type in Grizz Khan, it will come up. My YouTube channel, I'm going to do a couple of previews. I've actually managed to get a couple of big Newcastle fans to come in and have a chat with us. So yeah, chat, get ready to give them hell. We're going to be doing a preview with a big Newcastle fan. And apart from that, guys, I guess it's time to say peace, love, and tranquility to you all. Up the Reds.